Some other things we need to talk about. Documentation. Is everything documented? Is everything weight tested? Do you have the certification for it? Is that wire identified with a serial number attached to it, i.e. a tag of some sort? So in other words, you don't show me a piece of wire and then all of a sudden you show me the paper and the wire has nothing identifying it. That won't go. You got to be able to identify the wire to the paper. So think about that for a minute. As a good ship has all of its certifications, wire ropes, lines, etc., the whole works. This is especially important when we're looking at your side port cranes, looking at your regular ship's cranes, anything to deal with rigging that we want to talk about. The bridge cranes, some of the LHDs and stuff like that. Your stern gates, some of the stuff in your well decks, your davits, all that business. This simple programs, if not kept up, not up to speed in accordance with their time frames, can take that equipment down. So you have to do your admin and you have to make sure that your stuff is laid out and ready to go. I recommend that you have it on station for when the INSURV inspector comes up there to look at the crane or the tech rep that's coming aboard, they can see it. You got it right there to show it to them, and you're not running around going, well, wait a minute, we got that down below, let's go get that. That just holds up things. So be ready, be prepared. Remember, this is your inspection and you want to do well. Be successful. The sailor we talked about. Okay, here we are, upper vehicle. Talking about some other things that maybe you haven't thought about. Your between deck ramps. You want to definitely look at your between deck ramps. You want to make sure they operate correctly, their limit switches operate correct, the winches operate correct, any doggy mechanisms are operating correctly. Don't forget the emergency rigging for them. You have to have your emergency rigging, have them rigged. Now, a lot of the amphibs have stern gates, and their stern gates have emergency rigging. Not going to require you to rig that emergency rigging, but we're going to require you to have it, have the weight test for it, and what have you. We just won't have you run the stern gate. The rest of your stuff, you can pretty much expect to run. Some of the other things we didn't talk about, sewing machines. Do they have the right placards, operating, safety placards? Things like that is what you got to think about. Your punt. Yes, ship's punts have a spec, 583. Make sure that your punts are in accordance with 583. In other words, you didn't go out to Bass Pro and get yourself a styrofoam boat and trying to call that a ship's punt. That won't cut it. It won't be in accordance with the specs. Life rafts, all your certifications, all your hydros, their certifications, all up to date. Are your life rafts correct? Are they PMS correct? Are they tied correct? The list goes on and on. Are they loose in their cradles? We see a lot of that. Make sure that they're not. Make sure the launching instruction for your life rafts are in fact for your hydrostatic releases that you have. Ships over time get new and improved hydrostatic releases, but yet they didn't change the launching placards for them. Make sure you check that. Read through it. Does it make sense? If it does, you're good. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Some of the other things, your ACOM ladders. How many weight tests are there for an ACOM ladder? If you got a J-bar, there's a test for that. If you got outrigger, there's a test for that. There's a test for the ladder itself on the actual steps. There's a weight test for whatever raises and lowers it, whether that's a chain fall, a winch, etc., you name it. Bottom line, make sure that you have all the required weight tests for that ACOM. Make sure that your ACOM is complete. Attention to detail. Do you have your safety step, your roller guards, 3 separate pieces, your H-frames, do they fit snug on the hull, your jack rods and what have you, all the hull fittings, are they correct? Make sure you check your blueprints and bounce them off of there. That's what tells you what you're supposed to have. The jam nuts on all your turnbuckles, wherever they're at, don't have them loose, whether they're on jack rods, lifelines, wherever that might be, heavy weather lifelines, make sure they're tightened up and they're good to go. Remember, deck department, you own all topside ladders. Make sure you check those ladders. Make sure they're right, they're not corroded, pins missing, loose steps, handrails bent, broken, stuff like that. Make sure you're right. The INSURV inspection, as I said, gets into a lot of things. Corrosion is another thing. Your paint plan, make sure you have one. Go to our website. We have an example. Use the one we got to build one. Your CCMS codes. Read about it. Understand what that is. Understand what code 4 is versus code 1. Code 1, not bad. Code 4, you got bad issues. INSURV is going to give you a CCIMS score setup. You need to be prepared to understand what that is. All your litters and your safety equipment, your SAR stuff that we talked about, make sure that you go through that. It's laid out in an immediate fashion, and you have all the right equipment, your lines, reels, your megaphones, do the batteries work? Don't let little things like that hurt you. I could go on and on forever, but bottom line is that our checklist is there and the reference is there. And I started this whole thing out with the fact it's an open book test. You have to do your homework to do well, and we all want to do well, as I said, starting out. So with that said, I think it's time to get the ship together and figure out what we're going to do. Lastly, go to the website. Read it. Really read it. Know what to expect from your schedule of events. What's going to happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Ask questions of INSURV, often and early. Self-assess, and when you self-assess, be honest. Read your PMS. Not have your people read it, you read it. Read it in detail. Know exactly what it says. Remember boot camp. They taught us one thing, attention to detail for a reason. Organize yourself, organize your team. Divide your team in areas and conquer, one piece at a time. Eat the elephant, one bite at a time. Fix your problems, take care of it. It is not what you expect, rather, but what I've been saying, what you inspect. If you are seeing it for the first time with INSURV, you're going to be surprised. Not a good surprise. Lastly, be very proud of those crossed anchors and the uniform they are on. We have a long and distinguished history of working hard and doing it right. Don't guess, know the answer. This should be a part of everyday operations and not just INSURV preps. Combat operations can come at any time. Is your equipment ready? Don't put yourself, your shipmates, and your ship at risk. So batten down those hatches, hold on to those white hats as we turn into the seas, and may victory at sea to the ones who are best prepared for it. Shipmates, be prepared. Be prepared.